Thank you, everyone, and good afternoon. And I'm from Myanmar, and I'm a master's student at Khon Kaen University, and I'm honored to be here to present my work in this event. And my paper is about hazing the air, willingness of sugarcane farmers, adoption of green practice in Northeast Thailand. And here is about the overview of my paper, and I'm gonna start with the background, the air quality of the study area, and the leaf management, and followed by objectives, literature review, and conceptual framework and methodology, and continue by study area in data collection and survey design and measurement, and continue research conclusions and policy recommendations. So I'm gonna start with the background of my study. And according to the Office of Sugarcane Board in 2022, the Northeast region has the highest cane production in the last 5 years. So this will be our study gonna take place. And I would like to show about the proportion of burnt cane to fresh cane in the study area, and then compared to the national level too. There are 57% in the proportion of burnt cane in the national level, and 54% in the Khon Kaen province, and the Northeast region, and 35.8% in the Khon Kaen province. So in 2019, the Thai government made a plan to reduce burning, and by limiting the daily purchase from the sugarcane mills. However, their goal is to eliminate entry by 2022. Burning. However, when we look at about the statistic, it shows that there is still high burn in the area, especially in our study area, Northeast region too. And so, according to the statistic in the Khon Kaen province, there is 35.8% burnt cane. So it means that there will be 64.2 fresh cane. So when it comes, even though farmers cut the fresh cane, when it comes to about the leaf management practice, they opt for burning. So we can prove this by the air quality in the study area. So first of all, I would like to tell that the current cutting season start in the December to April. So after that, they have to start the leaf management immediately. So let's see about the air quality in the study area. And according to the U.S. Air Quality Index, 35 microgram per cubic meter is already unhealthy for sensitive people. But in the study area, the season of leaf management practice, there is 38 microgram per cubic meter is the average, and sometimes even reach nearly 100. So it is so high, the air quality in that area. So the scientists also found that the negative effects of PM 2.5 increased the mortality rate by 80%. So, and also the report from Atavreni 2022 says that if we can reduce the burning every 10 microgram per cubic meter, it will reduce the cost of, let's say 0.16 hectare, it equal to 1 rai, and it will reduce the 11,945 baht. So this is how important to introduce the leaf management to the farmers. This is the process of sugarcane production, and first the planting time, and second is about the harvesting system like burnt cut cane and fresh cut, and the second is cane leaf management, and goes to the rectant cane year. And so I would like to introduce about the leaf management practice. We can say the green practice, and the scientists make the experiment and compare about the cane residual treatment and burning residual. So according to the result, we can see that the average stalks and the germination cane yields, we can see that cane residual treatment have more higher yields, nearly like more than 20 tons per hectare. So in this practice, it includes about using urea based on nitrogen fertilizer and using a biostimulant, and it's called PD1. and or live in the field and do nothing for the leaves. So we would like to introduce this practice to the farmers in this study to reduce burning. And when we introduce about even though it's not new, it's unfamiliar to the farmers, especially for the small-scale farmers. So when we introduce this new thing, there is other factors we need to desire about farmers' decision. So it's about risks and ambiguity. And I would like to explain risks. Simply is mean about the probabilities of future outcomes that we know. The ambiguity refers that the probabilities that we don't know about the outcome unknown. We call this uncertainty or ambiguity. So most of the literature found that ambiguity delay the adoption rate, and risks, most of them delay the adoption rate. However, when we introduce insurance, and that's increased the higher rate. However, even in some, it depends on the context. Let's say in some context, they introduce the insurance. However, it still delay the adoption rate. So risks and ambiguity, we can say here, risks and ambiguity don't always delay the adoption. So it depends on the context. So in our context, we hypothesize that there will be gonna be the risks for this practice. Let's say farmers need to invest more capital than simply burning. So there may be the risks for the farmers in this study. And for the ambiguity part, most of the farmers are small-scale farmers, so they cannot invest all the machine. They cannot buy the machine, so they rely on the intermediary. So they need to worry about the access time, because of the limited time frame of leaf management. So this will be the risks and ambiguity in our study area. And that's why I have 3 objectives. One is about farmers' willingness to adopt on the sugarcane and leaf management practice. And second is about whether ambiguity and risk aversion affects the leaf management practice adoption. And the objective 3 is about determine the factors that influence farmer behavior to adopt technology. So this is my conceptual frameworks. It includes demographic variables and farm characteristics and health effects too, and risks and ambiguity, and perception on the leaf management is including the benefits and the procedures of green practice. And for the methodology, first I use simply order logic model. However, according to the limitations of the order logic model, it can lead to heteroscedasticity and homoscedasticity. So we use the OGLM called ordinary general linear model or heterogeneous choice model, which is introduced by William 2010, and that solves the problems of the order logic model. So for the heterogeneous choice model, there are 2 equations included, and one is about outcome and residual variance determinants. There is 2 combined equations, and here is the full model we can write here. And for the K point in here, it represents the cut points, and in the denominator is about the choice equation that I show in the first slide, and the denominator is about the variance equation in the first slide. So let's go with the equation in here, and this is the proof that why we use the OGLM. So we test the brand test, and we found that there is like perceived benefit and stay height burn in the area violates the limited of order logic model. So for the sample size, I use standard statistical model, and we got it near around 400 sample. So in my sample size, I use 432, so it fits the model. And this is the study area and data collection. Our study was take place in the Khon Kaen province, Nampong, and Nong Ria and Ubon Rak district. And this place is the second highest cane production in the study area. And for the willingness to adopt the green method, this is my dependent variable. And for the first time, I used the 5 linear scale model. And it was recommended by the conference to reduce the linear scale to get the efficient result. So I regenerate the dependent variable to 3 linear scale model. And one is about low adoption and less likely to adopt. And second is about partially adopt. And third is about more likely to adopt. And for the ambiguity and risk aversion, I would like to introduce that I use multiple price list method, MPL, and there is like 10 tables. We use 10, let's say, 1 table for 1 risk and 1 table for risk aversion and 1 table for ambiguity aversion, and there is 10 questions in each 2 variable. And I use, instead of using just the table, I use the picture and like table to understand for farmers. Most of farmers are in our study. Most of farmers and their education is under secondary, so it will be hard for them to understand if we use just the table. So when we design the risk and ambiguity method, we use the switching point. So for the 10 questions, if the farmer switch the point before 5, it means that they are risk and ambiguity loving. And if they choose row after 5, it will be like farmers and they are risk and ambiguity aversion. So here is the connective variables. It's measured by linear scales, and we use here in principal component analysis. And for the PM 2.5 awareness is the dummy variable, and we the yes or no questions. And this is the result of my study. Just model 1 is O-logic and model 2 is about OGLM. So here we see that perceived benefit and PM 2.5 awareness, risk, ambiguity, and stay high band zone, they are affect the adoption rate. And so I would like to deep down. I would like to go to deep down. So I also check the marginal effects of heterogeneous choice model. And we can see that here it's perceived benefits and member plays a significant role to increase the adoption rate. And so I would like to go to the result part more about it. Perceived benefit, ambiguity, risk, and member. Member is about person who live in the organization of sugarcane related to sugarcane. And PM 2.5 awareness and high burn area. This increases the adoption rate. Risk and ambiguity decrease the adoption rate. So for the conclusion part, we found that ambiguity and risk aversion are encouraging lower of ambiguity and risk aversion, encouraging farmers to embrace the green practice. And also the one members also a significant factors to increase the adoption rate, and PM 2.5 awareness are also a significant factors. So when we look inside to the marginal effect of ambiguity and risk, the marginal effects of ambiguity is much higher compared to risk. And so farmers who are in the members of the organizations of the problem of risk, I would like to change here. Marginal effect of high adoption rate is 9.5%. I'm sorry for that here. I would like to show that you can see here risk aversion in more likely to adopt is minus 0.095%. And the marginal effect of let's say member is 11.1%. So risk decrease the adoption rate 9.5%. However, if the farmers stay in the member or they are in the organization, that increases the adoption rate 11.1%. So for the ambiguity, there is 10. The farmer the ambiguity effect is like 10.6% decreases. However, the member of organization effect is increases 11.1%. So it's overcome the barriers of risk and ambiguity. So for this study, there is the policy. I would like to have the policy recommendations. For first is we would like to encourage policymakers to provide incentives for farmers to join the organizations because this can overcome the challenge by the adoption related to risk and ambiguity. And secondly is policymakers to develop policies within the Department of Agriculture Extension because that focus on providing training and detailed information. In our study, the farmers would like to adopt more after we give them training and giving the information of practice. There is 66.36% would like to adopt more the practice. So that's all about it for me and thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. So ต่อไป Q&A session นะครับเชิญเลยครับอาจารย์มัชนา
I would like to ask about the variables called being member.
Sorry?
The member, being
member.
member.
Members.
Yeah.
Yes, member.
So, is this the self-selection variable?
Sorry?
Is that the self-selection? So the farmer apply for the membership in organization, right? This is not the random, right?
Not random. It's about, let's say, farmers who are in the organization of the related to sugarcane, let's say, I forgot that in the name, but we asked them, there is a lot of sugarcane organization in Khon Kaen province too, and are you in the member of the organization? We asked them that question, and we just give them the variable name is like member. It's not about hypothetical, it's we ask them the questions. Yes.
Yeah, so do you think that if this is the self-selection variable, so do you think that your model will suffer from the endogeneity problems? For example, if there are another factors that also affect the membership and also affect the adoption rate as well.
Yes. First of all, I would like to say that if they are in the member, that they can get the information and the benefits, and that's make them more reducing their thinking on risks and ambiguity, and that is the first one. And yes, there will be another, let's say, education. There will be another factor, but in our case, most of them are the secondary. Their education level is like under secondary or just 1 or 2% is higher education. So that's okay for the education. And also the farm side, let's say the farm side, most of the study, let's say the literature review, they said if the farm site is bigger, they would like to adopt more because of the cost is savings and let's say they would like to adopt more. However, in our study, we focus on small scale farmer, which is around like start on 2 rai, let's say 4 hectare until 4 hectare, something like that. So it's maybe there, but it will be less. I think, yes.
เชิญอาจารย์ครับ
Well, it might not be a question, but I just think that the issues you talk about was actually you're talking about farmer decisions which are based on private interest. I mean, private interest, meaning that farmer thinking about their own benefit and then they also take into account their own costs.
Yes.
In your models, did you consider or take into account any possibilities that the farmers might take into account some of the social impact, social costs that might occur if they decided that rather than going to leaf management and burn it instead? So is there any part of the model was actually capture that and see if farmers were actually having that kind of awareness that whatever action they take, it might lead to some serious, social costs.
Okay, I would like to tell that because there is a little bit limited time, so I don't introduce that. I can say I take account that into PM 2.5 awareness because before we go to the survey, we have this project is go with medicine too, and we give them training and explain them about the cost of if they adopt this course, they need to pay. Example for PD1. They have to use like 2 bag or something like that in 1 ride, and that is just called for 40 baht. So sometimes we explain them, and we explain also about the negative effects of burning, and that can increase the cancer, their health effects, and mortality rate, something like that. So I think that I can include that in PM 2.5 awareness. We give them training, that's why. Thank you.
เชิญอาจารย์ครับ
Yeah, I think your result is interesting, and your topic is interesting also. One thing that you mentioned about the education that is really crucial, whatever,
Yes.
right, regarding the green practice and
Yes.
awareness of the PM 2.5.
Yes.
I'm not quite sure if the level of the education changes, how big the impact of the PM 2.5 awareness will change to the green practice. Do you include the interaction terms between PM 2.5 awareness and educational level or not?
No, I don't put it that one.
Okay. Yeah, I think maybe for your...
Yeah, but I will take it that into my notes.
Yeah, and I think that it's crucial. It will relate to your second recommendations about trainings, educations.
Okay.
And the second one, could I ask why you choose 3 provinces? And would your result be different among these 3 provinces or not? Why or why not?
Actually, I go with, let's say, 3 provinces. That is, most of them are the high band area, and I put them stay high band. And the other, there is like low band area too. And for the high band area, they would like to less likely to adopt. So I think it's obvious because sometimes what we call homoscedastic effect. I don't know that if our environment that adopt or use this practice, they were gonna automatically adapt according to their friends like that. So I think that's obvious. Because most of the high band zone area who live in the high band zone area are less likely to adopt the practice compared to the low band zone area. So I think it's quite obvious because people who live in the low band zone area, they don't burn, and so it's gonna like spill over effect. Let's say their friend don't use, so it's automatically go to their neighbor, something like that. So I think it's obvious that. Thank you.
ดร.พิระครับ
I want you to share your experience on when you do the data collection. You mentioned that you collect the data from almost 400 farmers,
actually,
right?
it's a big project, and I use my part, in English, and there will be the data collection is collected by the bachelor student, and I also follow my parts to explain them. I give them first. I give the bachelor student to explain to the farmers, and then the bachelor student explain the farmers again. So it's kind of like I give them training because I cannot speak Thai.
The farmer is the one who read the question, or the student read, or just kind of
Okay, first I give the bachelor student explain about the process, and then there is like the professor for the health, obviously about PM 2.5 that's related to health effect, and they give the training first them, and then the other project they explain about the cost and benefit, and for my part especially risks and ambiguity that's explained by the students.
And the student ask the farmer, and then they respond.
Yes,
right?
yes.
Just like an interview.
Yes, face-to-face interview. Yeah, thank you.
เชิญครับ
Yeah, following up from Dr. Pira's question about the data collection. So for your experimental design, the risk and the ambiguity, so basically it's a multiple price list, right?
Sorry.
It's a multiple price list.
Yes, among
right?
our price list. Yes.
So are there any samples that have more than one switch point?
No, just I choose one switching point. I base on one switching point. Let's say they have 10 questions.
Yeah.
So for each question, like the first question is like 10% losing, but we don't show them the expected value to the farmers. We just explain them, and obviously in Thai there is very popular lottery, so they can understand if we explain by lottery. And so I asked them, when you gonna switch option A to option B? So if they switch before option A, so it means they are risk loving. If they switch option A to option B before rule 5. Actually, I'm sorry that I don't put that in here because of the, how can I say, the limited time frame and the limited pay slide.
Okay, so basically this is not what the subject
This is, let's say, ambiguity is this part, but I just put only one question. I have like this for 10 questions for each table.
Yeah, so the subject task is to put A or B
Yes.
in the last column, right?
Yes, to put A or B.
Yeah, so what if they put A, B, A, B, A, B?
We explain them the first time, like they have a chance to switch one point, option A to option B. So when you gonna switch in number, let's say decisions 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, they have when you would like to switch option A to option B. So they look at it and the table like 10%, they have a higher chance, 20% losing chance, and they are gonna look at it, and when they see, like let's say they would like to switch in decision 5 or 6, let's say 6. So it means they switch after 5, so it's become their risk averting.
Okay. So
Yes.
basically it's like your answer to the previous question that
Yes.
there is someone that asks them like
Yes.
one-to-one interview.
Yes, but
And
they
then-
don't explain about the result. If you choose option A, there will be more, you have more higher chance to get it, something we don't explain. I mean, but there is a big introduction before this table. So it's like that, but we don't tell the farmer to the expected value.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
they
of
were
course.
gonna decide by what they would like to do like that.
Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any further questions? So that is that. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you for your presentation.